Hello, it's your favorite sports Unc here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry. The number 4 Ohio State Buckeyes go in to Happy Valley, take down the number 3 Penn State Nittany Lions by the score of 20-13. The Nittany Lions have come up short against the Buckeyes for the 8th consecutive time, Ocho, after failing to score on 4 plays right on the goal line with roughly 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
James Franklin is now 1-10 against Ohio State. He's also 1-14 against top 5 opponents. He's 3-18 against top 10 opponents. He's 13-27 against top 25 opponents since taking over in Happy Valley in 2014. Following the loss, a Nittany Lion fan had some words for Franklin as he walked off the field. Franklin stared at the fan, who continued to heckle him and asked, "What's your name? If you're going to be man enough to talk, what's your name?" The fan then just walked away. You have to understand, Coach Franklin, you do this every year. Right. You get the people in Happy Valley, you get the alum, you get them so excited because you start out undefeated. You start beating people down. Right. And then every time you face Ohio State, this is what happens. Yeah. So you can understand the frustration that the alumni and the student body and the people in that area, they're frustrated. They're upset.
I mean, but they also have to understand they also playing against Ohio State. You haven't beat Ohio State in a very long time.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that is the problem. Hey, listen, again, if Ohio State, to me, when I look at what they have offensively, the receiver, Jeremiah Smith, and those young bulls they got, if the quarterback play was better, this game shouldn't have been 20-13. There's no way in hell this game should have been 20-13. The quarterback play in collegiate football right now is abysmal outside of maybe 3 players.
Yeah.
Outside of 3 players. You put Cam Ward in that Ohio State offense, what you think it looked like? You put goddamn Shedeur Sanders in that Ohio State offense, what the hell you think it looked like?
No, you don't want to put him in the offense. You just need Shedeur to have that offensive line if Ohio State got.
Okay, okay.
Because he got skill players. He got them out there, though. They got some skill players, Ocho. Yeah. Now, I don't know about the tight end, but they got some receivers.
Right. And it just, man.
But see, Ocho,
Ohio State won, but it wasn't impressive, Unc.
No.
It wasn't impressive.
But see, I think the thing is, Ocho, what people are frustrated by is that we see this every year from Penn State. And it's like, well, bro, can you win one game that you're not supposed? Because what's happening is
a meaningful game.
Yeah, they want him to win one game that he's not supposed to win.
Right.
And he keep losing games where he's favored to win. It doesn't matter if it's in Ohio State. Right. It doesn't matter if it's at Penn State. You keep losing to the same team. Why? What is it about that? What is it about that team that's so hard for you to overcome?
Right.
Because there have been times, look, I don't know if he's ever had the most talent because it's hard for me to see a scenario where Penn State has more overall talent, offense, defense, special teams than Penn State. Yeah. Ohio State's loaded. Every year they go because they got a $20 million NIL budget.
Right.
So they're going to be able to get, for the most part. Now, there's some teams, a Georgia or an Alabama or some teams that can match an offer, say $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, Ocho. Certain teams can match that. Okay, you lose out to that player. But there are not a whole lot of teams outside of Alabama, outside of a Georgia, outside of a handful of teams that have that kind of NIL budget that you're going to lose a 4 or 5 star or a transfer that you really want. You're going to normally get that guy.
Yeah.
But I think James Franklin said, hey, he knows expectations comes along with this job.
Yeah.
You got to have it because for the last Ohio State and Michigan has been running away with the Big Ten. Well, over the last because Michigan won it back to back, and then Ohio State had run it for like 4 or 5 years in a row. So Penn State, hey, they got to do it better. He's got to find a way Because at some point in time, they're gonna be like, bro, what we paying you the big bucks for? You got to win that game.
Listen, you paying them the big bucks, but you can only do so much. It's all based on the personnel you have on the field. If the other team has better personnel than you, there's really nothing you can do. There's only so much coaching you can do as a head coach. There's only so much you can do when the players on the opposing side of the team are a tad bit better. They ain't that much goddamn better. Just a little bit.
That's where coaching come in. Think about how many times Georgia had more talent and Nick Saban beat Georgia in the SEC championship, in the national championship. You see what coaching, the big difference that coaching make?
Hey, I have a question, huh?
Yes.
At what point was Georgia talent better than Alabama, if not equal?
Georgia. That year that Alabama beat them in the national championship game?
You don't think they were equal?
I mean, not national championship
on both
game.
sides of the ball?
No. I mean, in the SEC championship game, and then Alabama came back and beat them in the national championship game. Right. Because remember, Mechie got hurt in the SEC championship game, right, and then Jameson Williams went down in the national championship game. And so they were basically down to their third, fourth, and fifth receivers, as opposed to their first two receivers.
Right.
Did you remember that defense that they had? All them number one, the top draft picks that they had?
Oh, yeah.
They had 5 guys going, I think 4 or 5 guys that go in the first round on the defensive side of football.
2 D tackles, yeah.
Yes. And you had N'Kobe Dean, you had Cine, I think that's how you, C-I-N-E. I don't know if it's Cine. But anyway, he went in the first round. So there have been times, I'm not so sure, maybe even in the SEC, the national championship game, where Tua came off the bench. Right. When Tua came off the bench, and he threw the ball to Devontae Smith and won in sudden death.
Right.
But he's going to have to find a way to win this game. I mean, you can't keep going to your chancellor or your president,
right,
or whoever, whatever they call him, and like, hey, we're so close.
Yeah.
Because that alumni and those boosters, they're going to get restless, Ocho.
Hey, listen, if the boosters get restless, tell them they open up their pocketbook a little bit more. You open up that NIL fund a little bit more. Then you get some of those players, maybe they won't go to Georgia. Maybe they won't go to Alabama. Maybe they come to Penn State. Maybe they come to Happy Valley. It's a difference. You want to compete, you got to pay.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. They're going to open that wallet a little bit more and get another coach. That's what they're going to open that wallet and do.
Hey, but listen, getting another coach doesn't fix the issue because it's going to be the same goddamn result. It's going to be the same result. In order to compete now at the collegiate level, you got to pay. You got to play to pay. Hey, it's like being in a relationship. Some people like to say it's about love. Nothing in life is free. Everything is transactional. It has to come at a price. Everything comes at a cost. If you're trying to win at the college level, you got to pay something. Ain't shit in life.
South Carolina, we talked about it a little bit at the top. Drubbed the number 10 Texas A&M Aggies, 44-20. Carolina in all black. My brother went to the University of South Carolina, went to a lot of games. In the night games, they get real rockers. They come out in all black. Now, I don't know if they still play, but they used to play 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
2000, the year we make contact. So the crowd would really get into a frenzy.
Right.
And so it was a great atmosphere. I'm sure, just watching it on television, having been there a lot of times. Obviously, I was there when they played the University of Clemson and played some other big games. But, man, Ocho, when I look at these teams, Ocho, I ain't really impressed. Georgia, Georgia went to Alabama and got beat. They could have easily lost to maybe Kentucky. Yeah. They played down for 3.5 quarters to Florida. Mm-hmm. I look at Indiana. Indiana's 9-0, hadn't trailed. They trailed today for the first time, but then scored 47 unanswered points to blow out Michigan State. Are you overly impressed with anybody?
I ain't overly impressed with none of them. Honestly, you know what this tells me? Basically, that the NIL deals has basically even the playing field for everybody goddamn team. If you look at South Carolina, right? They lost to Alabama.
Yes, last play.
They lost to LSU towards the end of the game. So you look at them playing against Texas A&M, the game today, them getting blown out by 24, it doesn't surprise me because some of the games you losing, it's damn near at the end of the game. Well, 1 or 2 or 3 plays would have made the difference where you probably could have won and your record wouldn't reflect basically what it is now. So beating the number 10 team, to me, it really doesn't mean much because I think the playing field has even across the board outside of maybe Oregon, who was damn near somewhat dominated a little bit. Outside of that, nobody. It ain't no Alabama just dominating the entirety of the season. Georgia doesn't look like the Georgia of last year or the year before, where they
that quarterback, Ocho. This is back-to-back games. He's thrown 3 picks and they still won. So it shows you the level of talent that they actually have on that team that they can overcome those types of mistakes. Yeah.
And I think the quarterback play on some of the teams that we're used to seeing that are really good, the quarterback play isn't good, huh? The quarterback play is not good. Outside of Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, and maybe two others.
Right. I think they like that guy. A lot of people like the kid at Ole Miss, Jackson Dart.
Hey, oh yeah, he's nice.
He threw for 515 and 6 touchdowns today.
Yeah. What's the receiver name? Had 8 for 250?
Watkins. He's rated real high too, though, Ocho. He might be the number 1 or number 2 receiver on people's board.
Hey, that's nice. 8 for 254. That's video game numbers now.
It is. And 5 TDs. I mean, the most I've had in the game is I've had 4 TDs one time in college, but I ain't never had 5.
That's a lot, boy.
That's a lot. Excuse me. And averaging what? 30 yards. He's averaging damn near 30 yards a catch, Ocho?
Basically, he was out there playing 7-on-7.
You're right.
That's 7-on-7 numbers.
Yeah, but when you look at the quarterbacks that I think that they had rated fairly high, you had Beck and you had some of these other guys, and when you look at it now, you hear them talking more about Shedeur. Kieran Ewers. Ewers was another guy that they had rated very high, Ocho. But now you hear it's Shedeur. Now you hear a Cam Ward. Now, it's guys like that. And Jackson Dart, I think he was up there, but he's getting played now. I think you look at his odds going into that game for the Heisman, and then you look at what they are coming out of that game. So clearly, he moved the needle with that performance that he had today. Right now, I still think Travis Hunter is the favorite for the simple fact, Boise State, Genty.
I was just going to say,
he's going, Ocho, he's got yards. He's getting, 31 carries. I think he had $147. I think he had like 30 carries last year, last week. I think he had like 150 something, but he's not doing that 250, the 208s, the things like that. Right. And so I felt that in order for him to win the Heisman, he was probably going to have to go for like somewhere between 23 and 2,500 yards. Okay. Because we've seen guys get 2,000 yards. That's whole hump.
Right.
And he's got the quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks, Cam Ward has 29 touchdowns, but what Trav is doing and the level at which he's executing, Ocho, he could be a guy that ends up having over 1,000 yards. I don't know how many catches he have. Ash, can you look that up, see how many catches he have? But he's going to go over 1,000 yards. Here's a guy that might have 3-4 touchdowns, 7-8 pass breakups.
Couple interceptions.
And it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to overlook that, Ocho. It's just so hard because he's playing both at an extremely high level. And so when we look at it, Charles Woodson did it, Champ did it, Miles Jack did it. But we thought of those guys as more the defensive players. Right. I'm not so sure that people don't think that that Trav is more of an offensive player because he's so dynamic. He's so dynamic.
Yeah.
And those guys, Ocho, they had packages. They didn't play every snap. He's playing every damn snap.
Yeah. Hey, you know what scares me a little bit? When it comes to Travis Hunter or even Shedeur being mentioned and taken seriously about being able to win the Heisman. It's about all the people that aren't fond of Deion, all the people that aren't fond of Prime and the success that he's having. I hope it doesn't affect those that are doing the voting when it comes to the Heisman race. Just something doesn't sit right with me. Shedeur hasn't been in the talks about the Heisman race for what it seemed like for a very long time.
Right. I agree.
They're playing very well. I don't hear his name come up anymore. They talk about everybody else outside of Shedeur. Obviously, Travis Hunter is doing what he's doing, and that's a goddamn no-brainer. Just the fact that Shadour's name isn't being brought up in talks and it's not on charts, it's not on graphs. It's weird to me, and I just hope that people's personal issue with Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes doesn't affect the players that are playing well.
Yeah, I agree. But I think Shadour is having an unbelievable season. I mean, I think he has 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
He's still completing 70+% of his passes, which is really, really good. He just so happened to be playing on a team with a guy that's playing both sides of the football and playing both of those at an extremely high level. It happens. It's kind of like you have two basketball players and they're both really good, but one is just having a crazy, crazy season.
Right.
I mean, so we've seen that happen before. But the University of South Carolina take down the number 10 Texas A&M Aggies by the score of 44-20. And the game, I mean, look, Carolina opened up 14 with a 14-0 lead.
Yeah.
Texas A&M scratch, you get their way back in. They ended up taking a lead like 20-17. Then Carolina kicks a long field goal at the half, go in 20-0, and then from that point on, go in tie score 20-20. And from that moment on, South Carolina took off and didn't look back.
Yeah. It was a good game. I enjoyed it.
Very good.